Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever really thought about languages? I mean, with nearly 8 billion of us on the planet, it's kind of weird that we speak over 5,000 different ones, right? It's one of those huge facts about being human that we just never seem to question. But seriously, have you ever just stopped for a second? Maybe you're scrolling online, seeing posts in languages you can't even recognize, and just wondered, why? Why is it like this? Because the more you think about it, the stranger it gets. That's the one. That's the big question. When you look at us as a single species, this wild, chaotic, incredible diversity of tongues just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. The writer George Steiner absolutely nailed it. We just accept this jumble of languages as normal. But the moment you actually reflect on it, you realize, wow, this is a deeply strange, maybe even unnatural way for a species to communicate. And this isn't just some casual curiosity. The famous anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss actually called this le mystère suprême, the supreme mystery of anthropology. So let's unpack why it's such a massive puzzle. So here is the paradox at the heart of it all. As a species, Homo sapiens, we are remarkably alike. I mean, our DNA, the structure of our brains, how we digest food, it's all pretty much the same blueprint, whether you're in Siberia or the Sahara. But then you look at how we speak, and we are just shattered into thousands of different voices. From Zairini way up in the Arctic, to Tubutubalil in California, to Capuchi in the Caucasus Mountains, it's a total contradiction. All right, so based on that biological unity, if we were being completely logical, what should our world of languages actually look like? Let's run a little thought experiment. Imagine an alien biologist is studying us from space. They see our shared anatomy, our identical physiology. What would be their logical guess about how we all communicate? Well, they'd probably look at our other big differentiators for clues. They'd see, okay, humans have maybe 4 to 7 major races. They've got about half a dozen main blood types. The numbers are small, they're manageable. So logically, they'd probably predict, 5 or 6 major language families with a bunch of dialects? That would seem natural. But the reality, well, it's something else entirely. So here's the thing. That neat, logical pattern is completely and utterly shattered by the facts. The reality of our linguistic world is more like a crazy quilt of tongues. The real number isn't 5 or 6 or even 100. The number of totally distinct languages spoken on this planet right now is, well, you might want to sit down for this. It's at least 5,000, and that's a conservative number. What's even crazier is that this is just what's left. It's believed that our species has probably spoken at least double that number throughout our history. Just think about that. And the density of this diversity is just mind-blowing. You go to the Caucasus Mountains, and you can have villages just a few miles from each other, speaking languages that are as unrelated as English is to Japanese. The island of New Guinea, a single island, is home to over 1,000 distinct languages. And deep in the Amazon, we found at least 109 completely separate language families. It's absolutely wild. But here's the truly tragic part. They're disappearing fast. In 1845, explorers found just 5 people in Siberia who could speak Kot. Today, there are none. Languages like Tamaulipa and Cocoma in Mexico are now just ghost names on old maps. And every time a language dies, it's not just words that vanish. It's an entire storehouse of consciousness, a whole unique way of understanding reality, gone forever. So what on earth can explain this incredible, fragile diversity? Well, the most common scientific theory people reach for is evolution. So let's take a look. Does this actually fit a Darwinian model? At first glance, it seems plausible. Groups split up, they get isolated, and over time, their languages just naturally drift apart. It feels like a classic case of evolutionary branching. But you know what? The analogy really falls apart when you look closer. Yeah, this really breaks it down. In biology, evolution is adaptive. It gives you a survival advantage. But for humanity, having all these different languages has often been a massive disadvantage. It's been a huge barrier to progress, and it breeds hatred and conflict. There's absolutely no evidence that any one language is inherently fitter or superior to another. And get this, there seems to be zero link between a language's complexity and a society's success. As Steiner points out, you could have these small, technologically simple, starving bands of people in the Amazon who use a grammar of such fantastic complexity, with more verb tenses than were even available to Plato. It's incredible. Linguistic richness seems to be its own reward, not some tool for survival. So, if a straightforward evolutionary explanation doesn't quite work, we have to look deeper into a set of ideas that are much older and more powerful, the myths of a lost unity. At the heart of these myths is the idea of the Ursprache, a single original language for all of humankind. And this wasn't just any language. It was thought to be a perfect instrument, where a word and the thing it described were perfectly aligned. To name a thing was to understand its deepest essence. It was like a flawless piece of glass that let you see the truth of the world without any distortion. And of course, the most famous story for how we lost this perfect language is the myth of Babel. First, perfect unity. Everyone speaks the same tongue. Then comes the hubris. Humanity tries to build a tower up to the heavens. And the punishment wasn't fire or a flood, it was confusion. Language itself was shattered into thousands of pieces. The myth sees this as a second fall, as devastating as the first. We weren't just kicked out of a garden, we were exiled from shared understanding itself, trapped behind these zones of silence. And this brings us full circle, back to that really profound and crucial idea we touched on earlier, that every single language, no matter how few people speak it, isn't just a bunch of words. It's an entire universe of thought, a unique storehouse of consciousness. So I guess this is the question we're left with. Is this crazy quilt of languages we have a beautiful testament to human creativity, a treasure trove of thousands of different ways of being? Or is it a scar, a constant, tragic reminder of a primal unity we lost and can never get back? The mystery, for now, endures.